So now we start with the partial variation. We are told partial variation, a variation between two variables. It is a variation between two variables such that the graph of this variation is a straight line. The variation of this graph is a straight line that does not pass through the origin. Now, remember, the reason why we had this, remember we had just this kx. I mean having something like this kx. Remember last in our first video, I mentioned this one is the same as the gradient. Now, there was no c, which is the constant of variation. So the constant number, we know the meaning is that it's the y-intercept. Now, the reason why we didn't have the constant, it is because that variation, it was passing through the origin. Okay, in other way around, the partial variation is the same as direct variation, but this one, it does not pass through the origin. The reason why this one, it was passing through the origin where c, the value of c is equal to 0. So meaning instead of putting c, I'll put a 0, which is the same as not writing it. So that is the reason. Now, coming to this one, it is a variation in such a way that the graph of this variation is a straight line that does not pass through the origin. So if it does not pass through it means that it has the y-intercept. It means that it has the y-intercept. So in short, we can use even the method for finding. We are going to write it like this, where b is the y-intercept. Where b is the y-intercept. So if y varies, let me read this one. If y varies partially with x, comma, then the relationship between y and x can be expressed as y is equal to mx plus b, where b is the fixed part of the partial variation. In other way rounds, under coordinate geometry, you can say where b is the partial is the y-intercept, and the m is the variable part of the partial variation. So that is what we have. Now, let us now have one example under partial variation. The example is the cost of renting a room is shown in the graph. This is the graph we have. So this graph here, it has got the cost. The cost is in kwacha, and we also have the time there, which is in months. So the cost of the room for 2 months, the charge for 2 months is 4,000. It is 4,000. Then the charge for 5 months. If I were to move this point here, going top there, I'll 5, then I'll go like this. The charge for 5 months is 7,000. Now the questions are, determine the equation for this situation. Let us determine the equation for that situation. Remember, when you are determining the equation, this one is, since it's partial, we are going to have it as let me say, question number A says, determine the equation for this situation. So the equation is, since it's partial, it will be like this, plus b. So remember, the y and the x will remain in the equation. But we have to find the value of m, which is the gradient. We also need to find the value of b, which is the y-intercept. Now, the y-intercept in this case, not even in this case, always the y-intercept, it is a point where the graph or the line crosses the y-axis. So if you look at our graph, this is the y, axis. Where is this line crossing the y-axis? The point is there. What is the value of y there? So the value of b is 2000. That is the constant number. Now coming to finding the m. Since m is the gradient will be y minus y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Which one will be our y2? We'll name that one as our y2. This one will be our y2, meaning this one is our x2 also. Then this one will be our y1. That one will be our x1. So we are going to have 7,000 minus 4,000, then over 5 minus 2. So we are going to have 3,000 or 3,000 over 3. So our constant, meaning the value of m, is 1,000. That is the value of m, which is the constant value, which is 1,000. Now coming to our equation, so we're going to say, therefore, our equation now will be y is equal to, where there's m, we'll put 1,000 x plus the value of b, which is 2,000. That is the constant value of that variation, or the value of b. Having looked at that one, we can now go to our next equation. Our next equation now is, it is not our next equation, but our next question. Question number b says, what will it cost to rent the room for 20 months? What will it cost to rent the room for 20 months? So this is the time, which is the values of x. So where there's x, we are going to replace it with 20. Okay, so what will be our answer? Let us try this one. We see how best it can be done. Remember, we have our equation, which is y. This is our b now. Y is equal to mx plus b. The b is the constant number. We know it. The b there, it has not changed. The m also, it won't change because that is the gradient. It is 1,000. The y, it is the one we are looking for. What about the x? The x, because this is the time in months, so the x here will be 20, because we are told that it is 20 months. So we are going to have y is equal to 1,000 multiplied by 20, then plus 2,000. Plus 2,000. So we're going to have y is equal to, this one I'm going to have 20,000 plus 2,000. So the value of y will be the cost. I can even put it in terms of money. Okay, let me just put it. The value of y will be 22,000. It will be 22,000. So our final answer, it will be it will cost 22,000 to rent the room for 20 months. The cost for 20 months rent is 22,000. Thank you so much. This marks the end to our topic. Our next video, it will be based on the sample exam questions. Thank you.